When shooters attend their first NRL22 match, more often than not, they're not familiar with NRL, PRS, or other precision rifle style of shooting where you're shooting off barricades, props, and on various steel targets of varying distances. So when they get to the match and they step up to the firing line for that stage of fire, they're often overwhelmed due to inexperience. And so here are a few pointers that I'm going to give you to help you as a person who is interested in NRL22, who's never shot this style of match before, how you should approach the stages when you get up to the firing line. So first off, you should know that stage and that course of fire. So the course of fire for NRL22 is standardized. There are 5 standard stages every month and it's published well in advance. So anyone can download that before they show up to a match. You need to download that course of fire, read through the stages, and understand how each stage is done. So when you come up to the line, you understand what's involved in that stage of fire. So if I'm stepping to the firing line, I should already, in my head, have been familiar with the stage of fire for that given stage. I'll know where the targets are, their distances, what positions I need to shoot each target from, what my positions are, and then from there I can kind of gauge how I'm going to move from position to position, target to target. With that, you should already have your magazines prepared. That's the next thing you should have done. So generally speaking, NRL22 is 10 rounds for each stage, often, sometimes it's 12. So you should at least have bare minimum 1 mag, but given the new stages, new courses of fire, you should have 2 mags. So I highly recommend you have both mags loaded. Have the 1 mag that you're going to be starting the stage off prepared and ready in the gun if applicable, because the stage of fire will dictate where that mag is going to be. More often than not, it'll be in the gun when you start the stage. And your second mag, just put it in your pocket, have it readily available for you, so that in the event, even if it's a 10-round stage, if you have a malfunction in your gun and you need to drop the mag and load a new round, you won't have that, one of your rounds on the ground because you have to eject it in order to clear your malfunction. You can go back to your spare mag. So I recommend 2 magazines, but have those loaded before you get up to the firing line for that stage of fire. A third item I want to bring up is know your dope. So if you step up to the stage of fire, you should know that where your target distances are at. So for the sake of demonstration, I have a 65-yard target and a 76-yard target. I've already figured out that I need, I believe it's 0.3 and 0.7 mils from my 50-yard zero for those 2 distances. And I have those ready to go. And I wrote them down on this card. I write it down on a card. Just, if you can memorize it, go for it. If it's only a 2 or a 1 target stage, obviously you don't need to memorize that because you have that ready to go on your scope. But write it down somewhere and just have it ready to go so that you understand, hey, I know my dope. This is what I need to dial for these, or hold or dial for the targets for this stage of fire. Number 4 is preset your optic. When I say preset your optic, you should, if you know that you're going to shoot a stage, and for the sake of demonstration, I have a 65-yard target and a 76-yard target, and let's say I'm going to start on the 65. I should already have my scope dialed in for 65. I should have a 0.3 on I'm going to go ahead and dial 0.3 on my scope, and I'm going to set my parallax to 65 yards. So the reason you want to do that before you get to the stage of fire is, let's say your gun was not ready, and let's say the parallax is set to 100, and let's say your scope was dialed for 1.5 mils. Once you're on the clock, the buzzer goes off and you're getting ready in position in the shooting. Then you realize, once you get on the scope, hey, I'm not dialed in correctly, and you're spending time on the clock setting your elevation and setting your parallax and setting your magnification as well. So you should already have that preset. So instead of doing that on the clock, do it beforehand. If you know your first target, you should have your scope set up to shoot on that first target before you start the stage. Save yourself some time so you're not kind of working your scope controls while on the clock. So just have your optic preset. Then the 5th item to bring up is just have your support ready to go. When I say your support, it's going to be your support bags. For the sake of this demonstration, I'll just have 1 bag, and this is my Arca clamp bag. You can also just use a regular, regular front rest bag, like a Game Changer, or the Wee Bad pump pillow. But I'm going to have my support set up here. I can go ahead and clamp this down here. But I'm going to have this bag ready to go. So it's on the gun, or if I'm going to use just a regular handheld bag, I'll have that ready in my hand to start the stage. So those are the things. Know the stage. Know the stage. That means knowing your target, the distances, the order of the targets, the positions, and all the movements. Number 2, have your magazines ready to go, preloaded before you step up to the line for that stage. Number 3, know your dope. You already know the stage because you know the targets you're gonna be shooting on. You know their distances. Know what your elevation holds are going to be, or what you're going to be dialing for elevation. Number 4, preset your optic. Preset your optic for the elevation, the magnification, and the parallax for that very first target you're going to shoot on a stage. Number 5, preset your support. Just have all your support bags ready to go before you step up to the line. That's pretty much it for like the little things that you should do before you start the stage. And that should set yourself up for success if you're shooting your first NRL22 match. And in the future, when you're continuing to compete in NRL22, these little details will make you more consistent, and you should be more prepared once that timer and the buzzer starts that you're going to start shooting that stage. Anyway, if you have any more questions or comments regarding NRL22 and starting to shoot NRL22, if you're very new to the game, feel free to comment or send me questions in email, and I can answer those as best I can.